Welcome everyone to the Data Analytics webinar by equiscale.com. We're going to take you through a couple of things today. We're going to start off with introducing ourselves to the topic of analytics, understanding why analytics is important in our lives today. From there, we're going to move on and talk about the different applications of analytics across industries. We're going to talk about career paths in the world of analytics. Before we actually talk about the Analytics Accelerator certification, the first two classes of the certification are completely free of cost. And this is the very first class, the introductory class to analytics. After this, we have another class, which is the data visualization class, which we're going to have as free of cost class on the 8th of July. You're welcome to attend this introductory webinar, as well as the first and introductory class on the 8th of July. We also have a duplicate rerun of this webinar happening on the 1st of July. In case you want some of your friends to attend it, please do drop us an email and we'd be more than happy to extend them an invite if you hopefully like our webinar. So before I go anywhere else, I'd love to get all of your names, and I know some of you have already introduced yourselves. So thanks a ton to Jagrup, who's actually from Punjab, and Kiran from Bangalore, right? We've got Vikas from UNCC. He's at San Francisco. He's a summer intern at the Lending Club. And we've got Charul. We've got Daniel. Daniel is a computer science major at a research company in Alabama. So welcome, Daniel, to the class. And we've got Karthik Kapoor from RIT Bangalore. For the rest of you, please drop us a quick introduction. So the whole group would love to know you. And the idea here is not just to learn analytics, but to get to know about the different people that attended this webinar along with us. So I'm going to start off, and my team, Alka, will also be, sharing their introductions. So I'm Amit. I'm the founder of equiskill.com. And I'm actually based out of Bangalore. So there you go. That's my introduction to everyone. In case you haven't shared your introduction yet, please go ahead and do that now. Okay, so we've got introductions flowing in. We've got Deepak from Chandigarh working with Fidelity Information Services. Welcome, Deepak, to the webinar. How about the others? Come on, folks. The idea is to have a really, really interactive session, right? So you will see this about Equiscale, that we really get you to talk about yourselves, respond to questions and answers. And that's really how you learn, isn't it? So thanks a ton, Gautam, who's working for Trantor in Chandigarh. So you've got Srinivas, who's working with Aricent Technologies. Karthik from RIT. We've got Ramesh from Chennai. Okay. And Ramesh is working with BNP Paribas Bank. Okay, we've got Sai from Bangalore. Sai, I'd love to know what you're doing, where you're working, and that would be great for all of us to know. Okay, and so the introductions are flowing ahead, and please do look at the chat box to see all the introductions that are coming through right now as we speak. In the meanwhile, I'm going to take you through a couple of things. First up, I hope you've had a chance to go to the website equiskill.com. And here's the website, right? So I'm going to show you the homepage now. Equiskill.com specializes in analytics certifications globally, and our main geographies where we operate are North America, Middle East, and India. We've got an Analytics Accelerator certification, which is the flagship program, which you see on the left-hand side here. And this course is 48 hours. It's 16 classes of 3 hours each, and takes you through a wide variety of tools, R, Advanced Excel, and then onwards to SAS and Tableau in those 48 hours. We've got an immense number of learners, and these are the 2 free webinars that are happening right now as we speak. We've got some blogs, and of course, we've got learner feedback. So you can read through that. The other piece is if you actually click on the Analytics Accelerator certification page, you can get to see the detailed course curriculum for the Analytics Accelerator. And it's starting from the 24th of June, which is today, and the next class is on the 8th of July, right? And the prices that you see here are in Indian rupees because I'm connecting from an Indian IP address. If you're connecting from the US, you might see $289 US there, right? These are the course instructors, so we'll talk about that in a very short while from now. Let me share the link for the accelerator program with everyone in the chat box, right? So there you go. I've actually shared the link. You'll also find me on Quora.com. So I blog a bit on Quora, and if you just search for Amit 104, you should be able to find my Quora page. I like to blog a lot on different topics, but most of all, you'll find me blogging a lot on analytics. And these are the world rankings for analytics writers in the last 30 days on Quora. And luckily, we're somewhere there. We're at number 4. Okay, so there we go. And let me share with you my Quora blog page. You can just sort of keep track of some of the interesting updates that I keep sharing with a lot of folks on Quora. So there we go. I just shared that with you right now. We also have a Facebook page in case you've been there, and feel free to give us a feedback of 5 on 5 if you love the webinar, and here are some of the feedbacks that we've got in the past from our learners on the Facebook page, as well as a lot of free events that we conduct for people who wish to learn analytics or transition into an analytics career. So there's our Facebook page for you. Okay. There we go. Hopefully all of you have those links now, and getting back to our webinar and it's why you're here today. So what is it that you should know about equiskill.com? We started off in the year 2015 on our journey of imparting analytics education worldwide. And our mission is to create a platform where academics as well as corporates come and share their learnings about analytics. And every learner is able to draw insights from the vast amount of data that we all have access to on the internet here today. We believe that the only way that you can learn analytics, and this comes from our experience, is to do and learn till infinity, which means practice, practice, and a lot of more practice. Courses here are taught by real analytics professionals. So you'll see our backgrounds very shortly. We've got very small class sizes, so we look at less than 20 people per class. And we have a unique methodology, which we call the click and follow workshops. And the idea is that we click and we show you how to do things, and you follow us and you learn along with us right here in class. Now, some of you have had a chance to install Tableau. And we'd sent out this email saying that if you'd like to make the most out of today's class, you might want to install Tableau and download some data. So just to get a sense, it's not compulsory, it's not mandatory for you to have Tableau installed on your computer for today's class. But how many of you do have either Tableau or R installed on your computer? If I could just get some responses in the chat box, it would be so good, right? Okay, and even if you don't have Tableau, just say no, that's perfectly fine, okay? No answer is a bad answer, okay. Okay, so we've got some folks with R, Karthik's got Tableau, some folks have R, Ramesh has both R and Tableau, all right. How about the rest of us? Shiva, Vikash, Jagrup, Gautam, Daniel, right? All of you, right? Okay, okay, that's perfectly fine. Okay, that's great. All right, I'm going to move ahead now, and I'd like to introduce some of the folks that we have in the webinar here today. So the folks that we have conducting the webinar are myself and Ujjwal, who will be joining very shortly. So let me just, by way of introduction, talk about myself a little bit here.
Hey Amit, I'm already there.
Okay, that's great. Hey, thanks a ton, Ujjwal. So folks, I'll go with my introduction first and then hand it over to Ujjwal to talk about his experiences. And starting off with me, so here's what I've been up to. I'm actually an MBA from the Symbiosis International University. I'm also a computer engineer from the University of Delhi. So it's a queer combination of an MBA in human resources and a graduation in computer science. The things that interest me the most are people and technology. I've actually worked for a wide variety of companies, but the longest time that I spent was at Amazon.com. And I've worked with 6 S teams of Amazon.com. S teams are basically the senior vice president teams that report to Jeff Bezos. Had an opportunity to meet Jeff Bezos and work closely with Sebastian Gurnigam, who actually reports to Jeff and runs the merchant business for Amazon. I've also been with the Jack F. Welch Technology and Research and Design Center with GE and worked with manufacturing analytics. At Amazon, I've also supported the fraud analytics team. And finally, I was with Citibank. So I was with the division known as the Global Analytics and Insight Division at Citigroup, where we manage the analytics for North America, Bank of Mexico, as well as Japan and APAC, right? Taiwan and Japan, and some of the companies in Asia. So that's what I was up to since I decided to, start out, and I opened up equiskill.com. And stopping here, I want to hand it over to Ujjwal, who can talk about his education and his experiences. And Ujjwal, is a veteran in the world of analytics. So Ujjwal, over to you.
Yeah, I think veteran would be an overstatement, but my experiences are definitely not as that of Amit. But one thing which I'm definitely sure of is I'm very passionate about this subject and I love to share the knowledge which I gain along with others. Currently, I'm working with HSBC as Senior Manager Analytics in Commercial Banking Space. I, continuously work on a lot of, analytics projects which range from anything related to reporting to predictive modeling to prescriptive modeling. And I've done a formal course in analytics from Indian School of Business. I'm an MBA in my masters and an engineer in my grads. So yeah, that's pretty much about me. I hope to see you all in the sessions and would like to share the knowledge which I have with all of you to take you forward. Thanks a lot.
Hey, thanks a ton, Ujjwal. And if you haven't noticed, Gautam, Deepak, Ramesh, Daniel have all said hello in the chat box.
Yeah.
And yep. So that's great. All right.
Welcome, guys.
So I'm
Welcome.
gonna
Welcome all of you.
fantastic. All right, folks. So we've actually been training for a wide variety of, educational institutions, corporates, as well as retail learners. And some of what you see on the screen, Microsoft, Texas Instruments, Ernst& Young, ABB, right? These are some of the companies from where learners have actually come, Tenet Healthcare, Target, but a lot more really. We've just tried to capture some of the companies and institutions where we've actually trained people at. And now, the question that I want to ask you is why are we all here today? So can someone tell me, what's happening to data in a year? So every 2 years, what's happening to data globally? Do you think it's becoming 1x? Is it becoming 1.5x? Is it becoming 2x, which means it's doubling? What's happening to data every 2 years? Take a guess, everyone. Okay, so we've got a lot of responses flowing in. Absolutely, data is growing exponentially, right? And it's surprising how big data is getting over a period of time. But let's just look at it in the next slide, right? What's happening is that every 2 years, data is doubling, right? And 90% of the data that we have in the world today in the year 2017 was actually created in the years 2015 and 2016. And if you look at the statistics, it's just mind-boggling, right? Let's have a look at some of the stats here just to get a sense of what is the amount of data that we're actually talking about. So we talk about big data, but really, how big is it? So you've got 277,000 tweets, right? And that's as far as Twitter goes every minute, right? You've got 2,460,000. So we're basically looking at around 2.5 million, right, shares on Facebook in a minute. And this number here is dated, but Amazon's making now much more than $83,000 in just 1 minute on the internet. That's huge, isn't it? And it's not just about data that's either numbers or data that's text. You also have data that's images. You also have data that's videos, data that's audio. So really, some of you may have heard the term, and if you have not, the term that describes big data today is the 3 V's, and they say volume, velocity, and variety of data. These are known as the 3 V's of data, that it's really big, and that's the volume, and it's coming at a very fast pace, and which is the velocity, and many different shapes and sizes, many different types of data, which is the variety of data. The fourth V that you're hearing a lot about these days is also veracity, that how correct is the data, right? Who's actually authenticating that data? But clearly, there's a huge amount of data out there, and that's why we're all here in this webinar. That's why we're here to talk about analytics. Data science has become one of the hottest jobs, barring cloud computing. It's one of the really hottest jobs out there. in the century, and this is as talked about by LinkedIn, right? If you think about companies like Facebook and LinkedIn, right? Talk to me about Facebook. What's the business that Facebook is in? Can you say something in the chat box, please? And I love answers, right? I love good answers. The only thing I love more is bad answers. Tell me, what business is Facebook in? Everyone, come on, let's put it into the chat box. It's simple. Come on, folks. You can't get this wrong. Okay. Okay, we've got some responses flowing in now. Networking, social media, analyzing data, right? Getting data from users. Wow, we've got a smart crowd today, right? Daniel says connecting people, exchange of information. Okay. Look, it might appear, right, when you look at it on the face of it, it might appear that Facebook is a social networking company. And sure, that's what they started out doing. That's how they got all of the massive adoption that you're talking about, which is many thousands of users. It might also appear that LinkedIn is a professional networking company. So you might think of LinkedIn as professional networking. You might think of Facebook as social networking, right? Reality is that that's how they started out. But today, the business that all of them are in is actually nothing but data. And everyone today is in the business of getting more and more data and analyzing that data, putting out ads, looking at how they can cross sell and upsell to customers. If you haven't heard of cross selling and upselling, don't worry about it. That's coming up very soon. But basically, if you look at it, advertisements is one angle, but really it's all about getting the maximum out of your data. Okay. And that's why a lot of people believe today that data is the new oil and data is the new soil. So I want to talk about the different types of data before we move ahead. And I want to talk about the different types of data analytics, right? Again, there are no good answers and there are no bad answers. The only thing that I request is all of you should type out your responses. My question is, what are the different kinds of analytics? Everyone. And you will see this about equiskill.com classes. We insist that everyone responds, right? There's no such thing as a bad answer. So go ahead. Okay, so we've got marketing, HR, finance, predictive, prescriptive, absolutely. Business analytics says Antara Mandal. Gautam says banking. Sentimental analytics says Jagrup. Fraud analytics, health, predictive risk. Okay, okay, excellent. Niranjan, it's great to see your responses, right? Niranjan, Ankit, Antara, right? And if you have not, please, please, please do respond. That's how you learn the most. And the next slide, I want to talk about what are the different kinds of analytics. And I want to simplify this a little bit for you, right? You've heard about big data analytics, data science, bunch of things. Really, if you look at it, fundamentally, there's three kinds of things that you want to think about. The three kinds of analytics that you want to think about are the following. It is descriptive, predictive, and prescriptive analytics. Now, descriptive analytics is, you see the word describe in there somewhere, right? So the root of descriptive analytics is the word describe. If you ask any chief executive officer about a business, they always want to know, what's going on in my business today. And that can be one of the biggest challenges when you're in the executive leadership team, getting to know what's actually going on. And when you ask the question, what is going on in my business, you're asking people to describe what's going on in your business. They usually do that with the help of a few things, right? You have a database, and you see that over here. You have an enterprise database management system. Out of the database, you get a lot of different kinds of reports. Now, the reports can also be visualized. So you could have reports that are text reports, but more likely these days you have visual reports. You might also have a lot of metrics talking about profitability. For example, sales is going up or sales is going down. Profit after tax might be going up or it might be going down. Shipping cost may be going up or down. So you've got metrics that measure how your business is doing. And then you also have real-time exceptions and alerts. For example, if stocks in your store at Walmart, are below a certain level for a particular product, you might get an alert. So whenever you talk about what's going on in my business today, You're describing in hindsight what happened in the past week or past month. And when you do that, what you're doing is descriptive analytics. A lot of what you call data warehousing, right? Or when you talk about, you know, um, DWDI, right? Intelligence, business intelligence, or when you talk about reporting, or when you talk about alerts, are all a part of what is known as descriptive analytics. Okay, so now that you know that sales is going down, right? You know that sales went down last month and you're the chief executive officer of the company. What's the next question you would ask your sales head? Simple. Keep it really simple, right? Sales went down last month. You're the CEO. What would you ask the head of sales worldwide? Come on, put it into the chat box. Simple question you would ask. Okay, there you go. Right, Daniel, you're absolutely right. Karthik, Srinivas, you're right. And the next question is why? And the question after that is, how to improve. And we'll come to that, Deepak, in a very short while. But the moment you know that sales is going down, your very next question is going to be, why is it going down? So once I give you some data and I give you some reports coming out of that data, your next question is why? And when you ask why, you're essentially asking for nothing but insight. You want to know why things happened the way they happened. One of you rightly mentioned, and you use the word reason. What's the reason for things being the way they are now that I know how things are? And that takes you down the place where you actually do analysis and you try to figure out why things are the way they are. And when you look at methods such as regression, and we'll talk about linear regression, it's a popular method in predictive analytics. You can think of this one method called linear regression. Or if you look at forecasting, right, which is a Riemann time series forecasting, for example, or modeling, you can look at decision trees for modeling. So these three techniques, that I just talked about, regression, a Riemann time series forecasting, or decision trees, are all predictive techniques where you're actually trying to look at insight and then think of how things might pan out in the future. Okay, so suppose you find out the reason that sales is going down is because of seasonality. So let's talk about this for a short while. Sometimes you have a lot of sales happening at a particular time, and then sales do not happen at a different time of year. It could be the holidays. It could be a back to school kind of sale. So once you know the reason why sales is down, what's the next thing you'd want to know as a CEO? Now you know that sales is down because of seasonality. People don't typically buy a product or buy a service at this particular time of year. Then what would you want to know from your head of sales? Now this one's a little harder, but come on, give it a shot, folks. Give it a shot. Okay. So how do you improve it? Where did we go wrong, says Vikas? How did you improve, says Jagrup. Srinivas says, how can we improve it? Okay. So more people, right, should have actually responded. Look, at the end of the day, you're not going to take that line down, right? And Daniel, comes back saying how to increase the sales. Absolutely. Give him analytics about good play. Okay, thank you, Gautam. So look, at the end of the day, you're now going to want to know, all right, it's their seasonality, but can we do something else to make sales happen? For example, we know, for example, that there's seasonality from the month of July, okay, and let's put that as July, all the way till the month of September. And we know that sales pick up after September. So then could we, every year, could we give a discount for any sale that happens from July to September? Could we think of it as happy hours, right? Could we have, for example, 20% discount at this time of year or cheaper flights? I don't know. But you're now looking for, how do we proceed in the future? So the question you're asking yourself is, sure, we know that there's seasonality. Sure, we know that it might be hard to actually get business going at this time of year, but how should I proceed in the future? And if you look at the question how to proceed going forward in the future, you're really asking about foresight. Okay, and how do we prevent this from happening next year? And this is where you use things like dynamic rule utilization and machine learning to actually be able to run business in a better way by having foresight about a particular situation and knowing how to proceed with that situation in the future. Good. So now we know that the three kinds of analytics are descriptive, which is hindsight, predictive, which is having insight, and prescriptive, which is having foresight about how to proceed in a particular business scenario. All other kinds of analytics actually are either subsets of these analytics or they're applications of these analytics with different technologies. For example, big data analytics, also has Hive queries. Hive is a technology which you use to write queries in big data. Now, it's no different from SQL, which is a technology that existed in the past, only that Hive might deal with data sets that are greater than 1 GB, okay, 1 gigabyte, while SQL may have in the past worked on data sets that were lesser than that. But essentially, big data technologies also are either descriptive or predictive or prescriptive. Same applies for data analytics, same applies for business analytics. These are the three kinds of analytics that you need to remember going forward. Is this clear to everyone? Do you have any doubts before we move ahead? Are the three kinds of analytics clear to all of you? Please feel free to ask your questions. We're here to answer all of your questions, and there's no such thing as a silly question, right? Okay. Now, Shiva's got a question here. What's the difference between data mining and analytics? Okay. And I'll let Ujjwal take that. And before I move ahead, I want Ujjwal also to add his perspective on the three kinds of analytics. And very often we think that descriptive analytics is not cool, but trust you me, 70% of the work in the industry is all about descriptive analytics, and I'd say 30% is predictive and prescriptive. So thanks, Shiva, for your question. And to Gautam's question, the arrow going up just indicates the sophistication or the complexity in the amount of thinking, amount of algorithms that you need to write in order to be able to do the kind of analytics that you're talking about. Prescriptive is the most sophisticated, predictive a little lesser, and descriptive is the less sophisticated form of analytics. Ujjwal, I'll hand it over to you for a while, and probably you could take Shiva's question on the difference between data mining and analytics as well, if it's possible.
Sure, definitely, Amit. Thanks for asking the question, Shiva. So, just to give you at a very high level, a perspective at a very high level, analytics is, data mining is a way of doing analytics. So basically, analytics is a broader subset, okay, under which you have data mining, predictions, and all of that. So when we say data mining, what we are trying to do is we are trying to play around with the numbers, or in analytics jargon, we say we date the data and try and gain information out of it. Okay, so you basically are, the way you mine coal or the way you mine gold out of the mines, exactly you're trying to mine information out of the data, and that's why the term data mining. Now, what is the difference of this with analytics? Data mining is one of the analytics techniques. Okay, so when we say analytics, as Amit mentioned, analytics could be anything related to descriptive analytics, predictive or prescriptive analytics. Data mining is just one way of doing analytics. I hope I was able to answer your question. Shiva? Any other doubt you have? Yeah. Okay, great. I think Amit has covered mostly everything on this particular slide, but guys, this is something which I, tell about this to every batch which comes to us. People generally try and hop onto, predictive analytics piece without realizing the importance of descriptive analytics. Okay. In fact, it's not only with our batches, even in our companies, when I see new people joining in, the first thing when you ask them that, what do you really want to do? The first thing they say is that, we want to do predictive modeling. Okay. Now that's good. That's being very ambitious, but trust me, you can't be a good predictive modeler unless you really understand your data well. Okay. Now, when I say understanding the data, you really have to see what the data is all about. Okay. And that is where your descriptive analytics comes into play. Okay. So unless you have played around with the data, enough, and you understand the data enough, trust me, you can't jump onto predictive modeling. And even if you'll do that, you'll probably not be able to get the results which you really expect to achieve. Okay. Apart from that, one more thing which I would want to add here is the word which everybody tries and run away from, that's reporting. So guys, a lot of people really feel that, reporting is a bad work to do. We don't want to do reporting. But trust me, guys, it's only through reporting of data is where you understand that what kind of analytics or what kind of projects you can really work on. So, for an example, uh, we were generating a few reports for HSBC, wherein we found out that a few companies are giving us more business as compared to others. Okay, and when we really did a project on these companies which are giving us more business, we realized that these are the companies which belong to a space which is growing really fast. Okay. Now, these companies were then termed as, fast growth companies, and special products and special things were being given to these companies. Now, I wouldn't have got to know about identifying this group until unless I would have checked my reports and found out that there are certain, set of companies which are giving me more business. So the point which I'm trying to bring in here is that, guys, don't run away from descriptive analytics or reporting perspectives. Okay, they are very important, and they really form the foundation of jumping onto predictive and prescriptive analytics, and that's what is being really shown in this hierarchy over here. Yep.
All right, thanks a ton, Ujjwal, for that. And folks, I just have a quick request. Due to small error, what has happened is a lot of you are showing up as Alka Sachadev, right? While that's not actually your name. So if you could just type out your actual name in the chat box. If your name is showing up as Alka Sachadev, there's 8 of you there, and I will be able to send you the recording for this webinar, as well as the next free class, perhaps if I know your name and your email ID. So if you could kindly, put it in the chat box, your name and your email ID, it would be great. I will take it from all of you at the end of the class. Now, if your name is showing up correctly, which is the case for Ankit Sapra, Antara, Bhuvan, Charul, Daniel, Deepak, Gautam, Jagrup, Karthik, Niranjan, Ramesh, Sai, right, Shini and Shiva and Vikas, then there's no problem. But for all of you where your name shows up as Alka, please just send us your email ID right away. And I will have Alka from my team send you a chat comment, so you can just reply to her and send her your email ID so that we can send you the recording for this webinar and the data and the future invite, right? So I think Soumya Datta has shared the email ID. Thank you so much, Soumya. And others who are showing up as Alka, can you please send me your email ID as a private chat message or a public chat message, whichever is okay with you. All right. I'll be waiting for that. Thank you. And we'll move ahead.
Amit, I just want to, I think answer a few questions which are there. So I think Deepak has
Sure.
asked that data mining can be done for any type of analytics. Okay, Deepak, I think the right question to ask would be that can data mining can be done on any type of data, So analytics is just a term given to multiple approaches coming in together. Okay, data mining being one of the approaches. Now, you do data mining on data and not on analytics. Okay, Deepak. So when we say I'm mining the data, I'm trying to gain information out of the data, and that is one way of doing analytics. So the question which you have asked over is, data mining can be done for any type of analytics. I don't think that's the right question to ask. I would say that data mining is one way of doing analytics, and this can be done on any type of data. Okay. I think, yeah, data mining is just one way. Exactly. Okay, then there is another question, which is, what would be other ways to do analytics, one being data mining? Okay, so I'm not sure who's the person who has asked this question, but whosoever has, when we talk about descriptive analytics is where we're doing most of the data mining. Okay, the next stage to that is predictive modeling, wherein whatever information you have gained out of the data, basis that you try and build a predictive model, and post that you run on to prescriptive modeling. So these are the three broad categories we talk about always. I hope I was able to, Oh, okay, great. So that's nice to hear, Deepak, that I could answer your question. Thanks a lot. Amit, over to you again. Yeah.
Thanks, Ujjwal. All right, so hopefully we're all clear about what are the three kinds of analytics, and you want to think about also the technologies, right? So the other piece that you want to think about is what are the technologies that are used for these different kinds of analytics. So what you will see is that a lot of the predictive analytics that happens today in the market out there happens either in R, or you will see it happening in traditional companies, especially in the financial and the healthcare space. You will see that they operate hugely in SaaS, SAS. And you will also see that in the open source companies these days, Python is also being used a lot. So these are the three technologies that you see being used a lot for predictive analytics, as well as to an extent for descriptive analytics as well. In the descriptive analytics space though, you will also see that Tableau is being used in a big way. So you will find the data visualization and a lot of jobs around data analytics on the descriptive side happens in Tableau. It also happens in ClickView, which is another tool which sort of got upstaged by Tableau in the last 2 or 3 years, but it was a hugely popular tool before that. And you'll also see that a lot of work happens in MSBI in some of the companies, which is Microsoft Business Intelligence, right? So in this program, what we've tried to do is we've crafted together a combination of MSBI, Tableau, and R, as well as an introduction to SAS, right? Now, 80% of the program really is sort of, when you look at predictive side, 80% will be on SAS and around 20% will be on, I'm sorry, my apologies, 80% on R and 20% on SAS. So R is going to be pretty heavy on the predictive side. And on the descriptive side, you will see that it's 50-50% Tableau, as well as Microsoft Business Intelligence tools in Excel will be covered in the program. So really it gives you, the ability to run descriptive and predictive analytics. And you'll also see that prescriptive analytics can happen in a variety of technologies. Again, R and Python as well can be used for prescriptive analytics. Okay, so that's just a quick sort of run through of the kind of technologies that you see at play. And if you've got any questions pertaining to technologies, feel free to ask them now. We're more than happy to address those questions. Right. So one question is, descriptive analytics includes reporting, by Niranjan? Yes, descriptive analytics does include reporting because it talks about what is going on in the business. A report is nothing but a document that tells you what's going on for your business. Apart from that, it also includes data visualization, visual analytics. It also includes reporting of key metrics for a business, such as profit after tax or before tax or PBIT, measures of profitability, measures of cost. Okay, so hopefully that answers your question, Niranjan. Okay, okay. Let me know, Niranjan, in the chat box. Okay, Bhuvan's got a question saying, does linear regression come in predictive modeling? Yes, Bhuvan. Linear regression is a technique to predict a dependent variable and how it's influenced by independent variables. For example, sales could be a dependent variable, and an independent variable could be the cost of the product or the number of features that you have in the product. So linear regression would help you predict the impact on sales of the cost of the product and the number of features that you have in the product. So hopefully that helps you. Let me know, Bhuvan, if that answers your question. And Ramesh has a quick question around the course. And if we're going to cover R, we're going to go in depth into R. And Ramesh, you will run a project in this course. As a part of the course, you have a capstone project in R, and you will be able to do not just mini projects, but actually fairly sophisticated projects in this course, right? And Shiva says, where does machine learning or deep learning fit in? So it's all prescriptive analytics. It's all about having foresight on how to deal with a particular situation and get the most out of your business in a particular situation. And that is all prescriptive analytics. And those are the techniques that are prescriptive analytics techniques. Great. So thanks a ton for those questions. I'd love to get more questions. And we're going to move ahead. So let me see if I've got anything else. What are the AI techniques for descriptive analytics? All right, so you do have a lot of artificial intelligence being used to automate reporting and descriptive analytics. So, that is definitely something that happens in automation, right? So that's Jagrup. And then Niranjan says, most of the data we get is unstructured, how to convert it into structured data. Okay, so you will also learn, a lot of techniques such as data cleansing. Apart from cleaning the data, you've got to encode the data. You've got to do things like have dummy variables. You've got to, sometimes you've got to disregard the dummy variables. So you have to take the data to a point where it is amiable for you to run a particular analytical technique. Now, there are many different techniques, Niranjan. There are many different algorithms to deal with, messy data or cleaning of data, which you will learn as a part of the program, right? Okay, so Daniel says, where does NLP belong? So NLP, I'm hoping that Daniel, you're talking about natural language processing, and that belongs in text and sentiment analytics, right? And we actually teach text and sentiment analytics in the program, and you want to think about it as a combination or at the border of descriptive and predictive analytics, right? So I would say that these are not watertight compartments. If you talk about understanding the sentiment behind text, Daniel, that would be descriptive. But if you talk about trying to understand, what sentiment might be in the future with regards to a particular sort of content, that might be more predictive, right? Okay. So we're going to touch upon the beginning of machine learning techniques, right? But we're not going to get deep into machine learning in this particular course. Okay, we're going to reach all the way till predictive and the beginning of prescriptive analytics, Ramesh. Okay. After that, once you complete that, the next step you could also think about, moving ahead with machine learning. Okay. All right. So there's a sequence, right? You go in terms of descriptive, then predictive, and then finally prescriptive, which is the machine learning. Okay. Right. So Daniel, thanks a ton. Okay. So we're going to actually cover, we've got a demo coming up today, Daniel, that uses NLP, natural language processing and text mining. So stay around. Okay. Ramesh, questions regarding the, we do provide placement assistance, and you can see a lot of feedback about Equiskill on Quora, and people who actually landed a job after they did our course. Not everybody means to join the course in order to get placed, but a lot of people did, and they did get placed. And you will not learn R alone, Ramesh. You will learn R, SAS, Tableau, and MSBI. So those are 4 technologies. It'll give you really a power-packed punch to your resume in case you're looking to transition into analytics full-time. Okay. I hope that answers your question, Ramesh. Now, I want to talk about the applications of analytics, right? So you want to sort of hold on to your question. Someone's asking if Python is required. I think your name shows up as Alka Satchadev. Could you please just share your name with us? So, you could learn R and SAS and Python. You could learn any 2 of them, any 1 of them. It doesn't really matter that much, because what has happened in the past is Python was doing well around 3 years, 4 years ago. It still continues to do well today, but I think R has caught up in a big way. And if you look at, datacamp.com, and if you look at how R is doing versus Python, you begin to realize that R has come to a point of inflection where it's going to overtake the number of users of Python, or already has overtaken the number of users of Python. It's because of the ease of the UI in R, which you will see in a very short while. So I hope that answers the question, Praneeth. Kriti, the course is 2 months. You'll be done in 16 to typically 17 classes of 3 hours each. So typically 51 hours of classes, and then followed by assignments. So you'll get a ton of assignments, Kriti. Don't worry, don't be scared. You'll be able to handle it in the week because we only have classes on Saturday and Sunday. Now, hold your questions, folks. So we've got some really interesting stuff that we want to share about analytics, and we can come back to the questions in a short while, okay? All right. So let's talk about the applications of analytics. You've heard so much about big data analytics, but really, where is it used? So let me ask you a question. Suppose I have an American Express credit card, and I have a credit card that's called a silver credit card, right? So I've got a silver Amex credit card. All right. And now you're working with American Express, and you realize that my salary has been growing, and I used to make $100,000 a year. As it just turned out, last year was a great year for me, and you've realized that my salary just got bumped up to $150,000. You now know that I'm earning more money on a monthly basis, and I have a silver credit card. So what would you try to sell me now? You already know I have an Amex silver card, and you're from Amex. What would you try to sell me? Absolutely. So Vikas says the gold card, right? And what you're talking about here is when you try to sell a customer a higher end product, but the same class of product, it's known as upselling. Now, the other piece is, suppose, I already have a gold credit card, and as it turns out, I'm making $100,000. You cannot sell me, you know, another credit card. You could probably sell me a platinum, but suppose I even have a platinum. But you need to sell me something. So what else could you sell me once you know that I'm someone who's making a fairly good amount of money and I've got a good line of credit? Okay, I could sell you better deals on the same card, okay? But think outside of cards, okay? Just think outside of cards. All right, maybe other deals from Amex, says Vikas. Antara says some other product. Insurance, boom, there you go, right? So let's all say, clap, clap for Antara, and Deepak Gupta says loan, right? So please put a clap, clap, clap in the chat box for all of them, right? All right, come on, folks. Let's applaud your colleagues who are giving you good answers right here, okay? Um, so what you're hearing, Kriti, thanks a ton, right? Vikas, thanks a ton. What you're hearing is cross-selling, because now you're going to try and sell me insurance. You're going to try and sell me loans. And how do you do this? Now, imagine if you have millions of customers. How are you going to decide what to upsell and what to cross-sell? And for this, we use analytics, okay? So now you know one of the big applications of analytics is to figure out what to upsell and cross-sell. Now, for example, let's also talk about some more applications of analytics. Let's talk about Barack Obama's re-election bid, right? So when Barack Obama was getting re-elected as a president, he had to send out emails to the entire American population, the entire voters of America, asking for donations to his re-election campaign. Now, he could have sent the email saying, please contribute to the re-election campaign of my party. Or he could have said, I, Barack Obama, request your contribution for my re-election campaign bid. Or he could have said, would you like to contribute to our re-election campaign bid? So there are 15 different emails he could have written. But how do you decide which kind of email is going to get you the maximum contributions? And this you do using A/B testing. And this is another form of analytics, which is called the design of experiments. And trust you me, this was used to actually figure out which emails need to go out to which people, generating close to $200 million of contributions, right, for Barack Obama's re-election campaign. And that's huge, isn't it? If you look at it, right? The other thing you want to think about is recommendation engines. So if you buy a ticket on expedia.com, you buy a ticket and you're going to fly to Switzerland, right? What's the next thing that they're going to try to sell you? You just purchased a ticket to Switzerland. What's the next thing that they're going to recommend that you buy from them? All right, let's look at the responses in the chat box. Absolutely, you guys got it. Deepak, Daniel, hotels, right? Hotels, or they might want to sell you, a world tour. Okay, Gautam says that would be upselling, but more likely hotels. And what about cabs? Have any of you heard of Europe Car? Okay, and Deepak says travel insurance. Absolutely, that's perfectly right. So I could sell you insurance, I could sell you car rentals with Europe Car in Switzerland. So this is known as recommendations, dynamic recommendation engines. And what you see here is that we're actually recommending a particular product to you, right? And Niranjan says, what's A/B testing? Well, A/B testing is basically, if you think about it, right, you have email A and you have email B. And I want to know which one of these two emails, email A or email B, is going to get me the maximum number of donations. So I test it out. I send it to a certain number of people and I look at the response to see which one of them got us the maximum amount of contributions. Basis that, I decide to go forward with either email A or email B. As it turns out, maybe email A is the winner, which in the case of the Barack Obama re-election campaign was saying that I, Barack Obama, request your contribution for my re-election campaign bid. Now, suppose you have more than just two variables. If you've got A, B, C, email C, you've got email D, you've got email E. Suppose you've got 5 emails. Then instead of A/B testing, you call it design of experiments, which is known as DOE. Okay. That's also, an analytical technique. Okay. Okay. So I hope that's clear to you. It's a little bit like trial and error testing, but there's a lot of mathematics that goes into it, right? Okay. Great. So if you look at it, right, you've got all of these, applications of analytics. And my assignment for you is, I want you to go and Google, right? I want you to go and Google forecasting. So I want you to go and Google a technique called ARIMA and read about it. We teach this technique in the course. It's hugely popular in the industry. It's a forecasting technique. So I want you to figure that out, right? I want you to read about the recommendation engine on Amazon.com. And I want you to look at risk modeling and credit scoring. So I want you to go and read what is a credit score. I'm sure all of you have a credit score, right? I want you to go and read that. Okay. So on this, before I proceed, I want to check with Ujjwal if you'd like to share anything on this particular slide before we go ahead. And Charul, you're very right. ARIMA is a time series forecasting. Thank you so much for that. Niranjan,
All
I'm
good, Amit.
glad I answered your question. Yeah.
All good from my side, Amit. We can proceed.
Okay. All right. So as you can see, folks, it doesn't matter which sector you're in, right? So you can see that on top, whether you're in retail or financial sector, healthcare, telecom, e-commerce, or social networking, right? All of these techniques that you're going to learn in this course are applied across these sectors. Now, banks are using it in a big way to figure out how to reduce the number of branches they have. In Europe, they've actually just approved a couple of years ago a bank that has very few branches. So when I say very few branches, how many branches do you think I'm talking about? Take a guess. Okay, so Daniel, we need a lot of claps for Daniel. Okay, so Daniel's absolutely right. It's 0 branches, right? So they've approved a bank with 0 branches, and I want you to go and Google and find out which bank that is. Okay, well, thanks for the guesses. But really, even human resources is now beginning to pick up on analytics in a really big way, right? And as you see here, right, human resources has become one of the biggest consumer of analytics in the support domain, and finance is getting into the picture as well. Now, one of you asked about aeroplanes. So absolutely, in the aeroplane sector, you can actually figure out, what is the state of the repairs and whether you need to do, preventive maintenance, or whether you can defer preventive maintenance by a certain time sign in order to actually save on the money that you would spend on maintenance. But you can't do that without having analytics around it because there's safety involved. So preventive maintenance can be sort of delayed, or it can be scheduled at an appropriate time to reduce cost using analytics in the aerospace industry side. Okay, so Deepak says B2B banking by ICICI is free. Airtel says Srinivas. Okay, okay. Yeah, so it's not DBS, it's actually another bank. So that's your assignment to figure that out. Okay, great. So I'm going to move ahead and talk a little bit about career paths, and what you see is really, okay, so Daniel Davis says to everyone, ally, right? So you want to see a lot of claps in the chat box for Daniel, everyone? Okay, I want to see a lot of claps in the chat box. Come on, let's be gracious towards our colleagues, right? Who got all the right answers. Okay, fantastic. Thanks a lot, everyone. All right, so I want to talk to you about career paths. Look, there is no one career path. I just want to show you banks and how a career path might look like in a bank, but it could really vary from a bank to a product company, right? You typically start out as an analyst running a lot of descriptive analytics for clients, internal stakeholders, right, or for your business if you're in an e-commerce company. As a senior analyst, you begin to run existing models, and you actually sort of customize those models a little bit. For both of these jobs, you need to understand statistics, which is why we actually start off with 2 to 3 classes of statistics in this course. It's important to have a good foundation in statistics before you actually learn analytics. And if your maths isn't so great, don't worry, because we start with mean, median, and mode, which is the most fundamental thing in statistics. Now, as a lead analyst, which is 5 to 7 years of experience, you might be creating new models. As a senior analyst, you might run existing models and just change the parameters. As an analyst, you might do a lot of descriptive analytics and reporting. As a manager and AVP, you're still expected to be hands-on. It's not that you're going to stop doing that, and you're expected to contribute hands-on in the analytics, learn new things, and lead the way for your team. But you might start heading up a particular customer or a particular region, like South America or a particular customer. At the AVP or VP levels, you might head up analytics for a particular product across the world, a particular region. And typically then you have the SVPs or the directors who are actually heading up the entire analytics division for a company. And this could even be a CDO kind of position, which is a chief data officer, or it could be a chief information officer, which is basically known as a CXO position, right? Someone reporting to the CEO of the company. You could go all the way up to there, or in fact get to head the company, as well. Wages could vary from $70,000 all the way till $500,000. It could be even a little more than that for a chief information or chief data officer. In Indian rupees, it could be all the way from 750,000 Indian rupees for freshers at the leading financial sector companies, all the way till 1.5 millions of rupees, right? So now important thing is there's room for everyone. So if you didn't notice, right, you see that there are two lines. There's a blue line, which actually talks about the business people that are there in analytics. And there's also the green line, right, which talks about the technology people in analytics. So you could be technical and you could have a career path in analytics. You could also be more on the business or the data science side, and you could have a career path in analytics. Now, it's a blend of skills, so you would not be only technical or you wouldn't be only business, right? It would be a combination of things, and that's the beauty of analytics, that it involves a lot of different skill sets, right? Okay. Hey, I'll take these questions, great questions from Antara, right? Specific to her sort of, query. And data science, oh, these are all data science positions. So if you look at it, you could call it, an analytics level 1 professional, or you could call it a junior data scientist. It's the same thing. Senior analyst would be called data scientist, lead analyst would be called lead data scientist. So it's pretty much the same thing. No difference there, right? Okay. Yes. So now questions pertaining to your career, hang around. I'm going to answer all these questions. Just hold them, Srinivas, Gautam, and Kriti. After the demo, I'm going to answer specific questions you have with regards to your particular career question, right? So Jagrup is also, holding his questions. So just hold those career questions till after the demos. Okay. So here's another thing that's really important for you to know, right? Typically you're either from the business side, you either know commerce or management, right? And you've got some very good business skills, or you're technical and you've got some pretty good tech skills or IT skills, right? Or you're from a statistics background, or from a undergraduate in analytics, and data science techniques, but really you might not know a business domain like finance or retail, or you might not have very advanced coding skills. The reality is that you need to have all three of these, and analytics is somewhere at the intersection of all three of these things. So over a period of time in this course, you hope to pick up whatever it is that you do not have today. I'm sure you have one of these things, but maybe you have two, but maybe not all three. So that's what you want to do out of a course like this, is pick up the other skill sets, right? Now, when you look at the course flow and how the course goes, okay, we start off with statistical foundations, and there's at least 3 classes on normal distribution, Poisson distributions, types of variables, hypothesis testing, before you move on to actually also side by side learning about MSBI and Tableau, right, which is visual analytics or data visualization. Okay. And then along with that, we actually kick off R. So you will see that we will go into regression, forecasting, decision trees, a lot of different techniques like sentiment analytics, market basket analysis, clustering of customers, social media analytics, all the advanced techniques in R. And then we also have SAS. So you'll see that in the same time, along with R, towards the end, you'll have more than 4 classes on SAS. So you'll be pretty much adept at an introductory level to SAS. You will be comfortable with SAS at an introductory level. You will be at an intermediate to advanced level in R, right? So you could think of that as an intermediate to advanced level, okay? And along with that, you would have intermediate capability in Tableau as well as Microsoft Business Intelligence, right? So that's where you would sort of reach at the end of the course. Your batch starts today. and 24th of June, and your next class is on 8th of July. That's also a complimentary class. So please take maximum advantage of both the classes. You'll also see that you have a capstone project wherein you can actually pick up a live data set, and this helps you a lot when it comes to transitioning into analytics projects in your current company or moving full time into analytics as a career, right? Okay. Right, and here we've got some details of the techniques that we're going to cover in the course, and they're fairly advanced, so let me just talk you through that here. The technologies, well, you learn Excel, R, SAS, you learn SQL in SAS, it's called Proc SQL, right? And you'll learn Tableau. So it's an amazing combination of 5 technologies that really are very powerful. But the focus is really on the techniques and foundations of analytics, right? And then all of these advanced techniques that you see here around descriptive and predictive analytics will be covered. Now, I will be covering MSBI and Tableau. So we have Amit, right? And Amit is covering, personally, I take classes on MSBI, which is Microsoft Business Intelligence, as well as on Tableau, okay? So those two will be covered by me. And then after that, we have, of course, Ujwal, who's the guru of analytics for us, right? So Ujwal will be covering all of the advanced predictive analytics techniques in R, which is really, almost 80% of the predictive part of this course. And we also have Gaurav, who has worked in American Express. He hasn't joined us today, but he will be covering SAS, and he's a veteran when it comes to SAS. He's worked for 10 plus years in SAS, okay? So that's the entire combination of facilitators. Between us, we have 30 years of experience in analytics, right? So you're looking at really a huge amount of practical experience about how analytics is done. And you do not need to actually, learn programming. You can actually get comfortable with R during our course. However, we're more than happy to give you a small intro to R, on a couple of resources where you can actually learn R. So don't worry about it at all. You'll be able to learn programming in this course. Even if you're from a commerce background or you're a bachelor's of business administration, don't worry. R is more of an interface, right? So the way you want to think of R is not as a programming language, okay? Think of it as a very advanced scientific calculator. Now, if you're thinking of it like that, then you've got it right, right? It's a very advanced scientific calculator with statistical capabilities, and you will see a demo coming up by Ujwal first. He's going to kick off an R demo for us, okay? And we will make sure that you're more than comfortable in R, starting right from the basics, all right? Including how to install R on your computers. We'll give you instructions, which you should be fairly easy for you to install R on your computers. Now, couple of quick things, right? You don't need to be an engineer to attend this program, okay? Any graduation, including, pharmacy or English honors. Now, you might think this is funny, but a lot of pharmacy people are very good at statistics, right? And even I've seen English honors people learn analytics and get into a career in analytics. Now, that's perplexing, but that's true. Okay, so you do not need to be an engineer to attend this program is point number one, right? It's about industry domain knowledge will be good to have if you work in any industry. Retail, e-commerce is good, but it's not a must-have. The tools that you need are all available free of cost on the internet, and we will show you how to install all of these tools. We will give you the instructions, but you need to install it at your end, right? The help is available online, but we will tell you how to do it. Each and every class is 100% recorded, so it's available for you 24/7. You can access the class online just in case you miss a class, but the idea is not that you miss a lot of classes. However, it is normal for people to miss 3 to 4 classes in the course, and they attend these classes via videos, okay? A lot of us have experience, right? So we've actually worked somewhere before, but it's not mandatory for you to have experience. We help you in building your resumes, and we can help you with a mock interview if you're looking for one, but we don't guarantee placements. No one does. However, a lot of our learners have got placed, as you can see from the feedback on Quora.com about EquiSkill, okay? And you will get an Analytics Accelerator certification upon successful completion of the course. You could get a certification that has a distinction on it. Okay, so you could get a certification with a distinction. Okay, or you could get a normal certification, which is also very good. Now, what makes the difference is the number of assignments you submit and the quality of participation in each and every class is looked at, and the assignments are also looked at in a big way, right? When we decide who to award the distinction to in the program. Okay, so you've got a free first class coming up after this webinar on the 8th of July, and we're going to see you all there. Now, above all, if for any reasons up to 21 days you want a refund, whether you're in India, whether you're in the Middle East or in the US, we have a 100% refund policy up to 21 days, right? If you're unable to continue for any reason, we really don't care why, but we have a 100% refund. We also ensure 100% learner satisfaction, okay? Okay, so I'll show you the fee structure. Well, the fee structure is available to you on the course page. So the best way that you can actually look at the fees, depending on which geography that you're based out of. In India, it'll show up as 18,900 Indian rupees, right? And if you're in the Middle East or if you're in the US or any other geography, it'll show up as US dollars 289, which is roughly the same thing. But we do have a discount, and we also have a discount that we can offer to people who have joined this particular webinar. So hang around, because at the end of the webinar, we will give you your discount, options to actually avail those discounts for the course. Okay, so with that, it's time for the demo. And Ujjwal, do you want to take the first demo on text mining before I go ahead with my bit? And I think someone asked for the duration. So folks, we're going to start off on the 8th of July, right, which is the second class. And 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, let me just tell you when we'll end. So 11, 12, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. We should end by the 26th or the 27th of August. Okay, so we're hoping to end by, I would say, the 27th of August. Okay, okay, I hope that answers the question. So Ujjwal, shall I make you the presenter?
Yeah, I think it's, let's do that. Yeah.
Okay, so Ujjwal, I'm not able to actually find you here in the list. Are
That's
you
okay. I think
showing
I
up
can
as?
share my screen. I can, oh, you can, I cannot, sorry. Amit, you might have to stop sharing your screen and then I'll be able to.
Yeah, the only challenge is right now I don't see you in the people in the webinar. So,
Oh, okay. Am I also showing as
yeah,
Alka?
yes, it
Yeah.
could be. It could be. It could be.
Okay, let me rename myself. I think there is an option for that.
Okay,
Can you see me now?
just a second. Yes, I can see you. So, where did you find this option to rename yourself, Ujjwal?
Once you take your cursor on your name, so you'll see multiple Alka Sachdevs over there. Next to one Alka Sachdev, you'll see written in the brackets me. So you take your
Okay.
cursor over there, and once you take it over there, you'll get to see rename as an option, and then you can rename it.
Okay, okay. So, folks, if you're actually called Alka, could you please rename yourself and correct your name there? In the meanwhile, I'll make Ujjwal the host for a very exciting demo on R. Okay, so Ujjwal, there you go. You're the host now.
Thanks, Amit. Okay, so I'm there, and I'm sharing my screen. Is everybody able to see my screen? Perfect, perfect. All right, great, great. Okay, so guys, what I'm trying to cover over here today is, a little bit around text mining. Okay, as Amit talked about velocity and all that stuff around big data. We know that a lot of big data is around the free text which is flowing around. Yep. Now, and that is becoming a need of the hour. People really want to understand that what people are typing in, what kind of comments are companies getting, what kind of feedbacks companies are getting. If you're taking an employee survey from where there is a free text field, what employee, what exactly the employee is happy with, what exactly the employee is unhappy with. If you're a Flipkart and you're selling some products, what kind of feedbacks are you getting on the product? Are you liking the product? Are you not liking the product? What is your overall sentiment about the product? Are you being positive? Are you being negative? You're liking it, you're not liking it, all those things is what people really want to understand. So what we'll do today is, we will try and understand how to, or in fact, not how to, we'll try and showcase you how exactly we can use text to come up with certain insights. Okay. Now, there are two broad level of, activities which we'll cover under this particular demo. One, we will try and summarize a lot of data. So let me ask this question to you guys. Let's say if I give you 100 emails from a specific employee of an organization, and I want you to summarize all those 100 emails, how will you do it and how much time will you take? Tell me.
Come on,
Guys?
folks, take a guess. The only thing that I think is better than a good guess is a bad guess. All right. So I want everyone to take a shot.
So quite a lot. Obviously, you'll have to go through all those 100 emails, see what this employee is talking about, what he's not talking about, and then make a quick summary. Yep. But what if I tell you that there is a way in which you can summarize everything within fraction of seconds, So that is what we call as text summarization, wherein a lot of text comes together and we try and, oh, thanks a lot, Deepak. Yeah, I think that definitely requires one. But what I'm talking about is that you get a lot of text together, you try and summarize the whole text, and get the major information out of it so that you can make sense out of that whole text. Okay. So in order to demonstrate that, let's pick up certain tweets. Okay. Is everybody aware about Twitter? All of you use Twitter? Okay. So what I'll demonstrate right now is accessing Twitter data. You access tweets specific to a keyword. Okay. And then try and summarize all those tweets by the form of a word cloud, and the word cloud will give you the majority of the words which people are talking about on that particular subject. Okay. So,
Okay, Ujjwal, before you move ahead, I just wanted to do a quick poll in
okay.
the audience. How many of you are seeing R for the very first time? Please don't be shy. If you're seeing the R interface for the very first time, just say yes in the chat box, right? So we know if we can just quickly show you, what is this interface, what is on the box on the top left, bottom left, right. So there
Sure.
are four boxes, right? So as I can see, there's close to 6-7 people who are seeing this for the first time. So perhaps we can just give you a very small understanding of these boxes. Don't be afraid of them, right? Okay, Ujjwal, over
Definitely.
to you. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely, Amit. And thanks a lot for, letting that know, guys. I was under the assumption that, since a lot of you have R installed on your systems, you must have seen it, but that might not be the case. So guys, this is basically the R Studio environment. Okay. You can probably see 4 different windows over here. The first window over here, which we are seeing, is the scripting window, wherein you really type your program. Okay. When you type your program over here and you execute that program gets executed in the bottom left window, which is also called as console. On the top right of the top right window, which we are seeing over here, is the window where you have all the variables coming up. So you could be defining a lot of variables in your programs. Okay. All those variables is what you can see over here. Okay. And different type of plots, different type of help messages is what you get to see in bottom right window of the program. Okay. So that's broadly around these 4 windows. Now, what I've done is I have already written a code for you guys, which can help us extract tweets from Twitter and also summarize them in the form of a word cloud. Okay. So let's go through this particular code quickly. I'll probably not, really spend time on the code as such, but we'll give you an overview of what kind of outputs do really come out. Okay. So guys, what I'm doing right now is, I'm not sure if all of you are from a programming background. I feel a few of you are. every programming language has got certain pre-written functions. So like when you use Excel, you have functions like average, medians, sum, all those functions are there. Similarly, every programming language will also have some functions. Okay. Now, these functions are being stored in specific libraries. So what I'm doing is I'm calling all the libraries in there. Once I've done that, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to create a handshake with the Twitter website. So handshake is nothing but, opening the window between two different environments. Okay, so what I'm trying to do with this set of code is that my R environment is going to now talk to Twitter. Okay. Before I move further, I could see a few questions in there. So George is asking that, is word cloud the only way of text analytics? No, George, that's not the case. Word cloud is just one of the many ways. Okay. You get to see a lot of things like sentiment analysis, name entity identification, topic mining, and a lot of them. Vikas is asking, quick question, sentiment and sentiment R packages are same? Yes. I think the name has been changed, but you can use either of them. That's absolutely okay. Okay, Vikas? And I hope, George, I was able to answer your question. Great. Okay. Now, I think Jag Group is also asking, how do you get consumer key, customer secret, and other variables mentioned here? Jag Group, there is a way to get that, okay, and that is what we'll cover in our lecture on text mining and text analytics. Okay, right now what I'm focusing on is just to show you how exactly kind of outputs we get out of it. Okay. So once you're going to be in class, and when we'll go to the text mining lecture, is where you'll get to understand that how to really write the whole code, okay, and how to get all these consumer keys and secret and all that stuff. All right. Okay, so what I'm doing right now is I am trying to extract 500 tweets on the keyword Kejriwal. How many of you really know or aware of this name Kejriwal? Are you guys aware of anybody with the name Kejriwal? Yeah. Okay, great. I thought, it'll be good to see that what people really are talking about when it comes to Mr. Kejriwal. So let's understand that. So what I'm doing now is I'm extracting 500 tweets. As you can see that there is a, red button popping up. So till the time this button is there, the tweets are getting extracted. Now we have got 500 tweets in one of our variables. I'll do certain processing on top of these tweets. Okay. And finally, I'll clean these tweets to remove all the bad words like these. When you extract tweets, you don't get meaningful information all the time. People use a lot of gibberish words which are really not required. Okay. And it's very important to remove such words from our analysis. So I'm doing that. And finally, what I'm doing is I'm trying to create a word cloud. Okay. So guys, the word cloud is still getting created because there is this red button over here. We're just waiting for it to complete. And while the time it is getting created, I could see a few names. Does anybody remember that what Satyendra Jain did when it comes to Kejriwal? Or what Aman Pawar did? Guys? You remember there were a few, ouch. Sorry guys, I think our session has aborted. I have to start a new session.
No worries, no worries. And while you do that, I know that some of us may not be aware of this particular sort of context. It's a politics that happens in India. Some of the characters we're talking about are political characters in India. So if you're not based out of this geography, don't worry at all. Just try to follow. That should be perfectly fine. So Ujjwal, while you're at it, keep politics away is better, says George. Okay. It's not a bad
Okay, so
suggestion.
George, any specific topic which you really looking forward to or want to
Oh
understand?
yes. Oh yes. So you guys can actually tell us what you want us to run the text analytics around, and we'd be more than happy to, isn't it?
Financial sector, okay. So any specific keyword related to finance which you want me to check?
Talk about a hot topic that's happening these days, right? So then you get to kind of, Bitcoins.
Bitcoins, okay, let's do that.
Shiva's got an interesting one there. Eh? Daniel
Yeah,
says Tesla. Okay, Daniel says Tesla. Yeah. So I think Bitcoins and Tesla are interesting. Let's run those two and just see what comes out of that, right?
let's see that, yeah.
Yeah.
Let's check that.
Yeah.
So let's extract tweets related to Bitcoins. Again, those 500 tweets a number. Let's see what people have to talk about it.
And while Ujjwal does that, trust you me, no matter what background you come from, you will be able to do this yourself at the end of this course. So it doesn't matter if you've never written a line of code in your life, or you don't look forward to being a coder. You don't have to be those things. We give you the code and we show you how to actually customize it and get the most out of this. The best part is that, you might not know, but you have full access to Twitter, right? All you need to do is open a Twitter account and then create a Twitter developer account. All of you have the ability to mine all the tweets that are there on Twitter for the past 6 months, for the past 1 year, right? You have the power, but you need to learn how to get the Twitter developer API, and which we will actually show you. And like Gautam Kadian has rightly mentioned, you will be able to do this at the end, right? Okay.
Wow,
Yeah.
guys. So this is where we are with Bitcoins. Now, the moment we
Wow.
started talking about Bitcoins, does anybody know what is the underlying technology of Bitcoins?
Come on, guys. Let's
Guys?
all guess. Girls, guys and girls, everyone. Let's guess. Come on, girls as well.
Okay, so I think Deepak said blockchain, and a lot of you said no. Okay, guys. So before I really start explaining this word cloud to all of you, it's very important for an analyst or for a data scientist to understand really the domain of the subject. Okay, so the subject on which you're trying to run analytics, you really need to understand that subject well. Now, this particular word cloud will probably not make sense to those people who don't understand Bitcoins, right? And that is where understanding the domain itself makes a lot of sense and is a must for any analyst or data scientist. Now, if anybody would know Bitcoins, he would know that the underlying technology of Bitcoins is blockchain, okay? And Bitcoin is nothing but a token kind of a currency, okay, which is not regulated by any of the governments. Apart from that, there are a lot of alternate currencies which are known as altcoins, like Ethereum, okay, and BTC is nothing but a way to talk about Bitcoins, okay. Apart from that, there was a campaign going on wherein a pre-sale of Ethereum was going on, and that's where you can see words like Ethereum being there, okay. And why I know about all these things, because I'm an active investor in Bitcoins also, so I understand this domain pretty well. Now, all of you who would not understand this domain will probably not be able to make sense out of it, but all those who understand Bitcoin would know that Dent coin is one of the latest coins which have been launched in the market. All right, so you see, I have just looked at 500 tweets, and I could gain so much of information out of those tweets. So people, when talk about Bitcoins, are also talking about Ethereums. They're also talking about some alternate coins. June has seen Bitcoins going really high in terms of rates. So one Bitcoin currently costs somewhere close to 2 lakh rupees. Okay. And that's where the month June also has come in over here.
There has been a lot of press coverage for Bitcoins in last 2 weeks. So, you see press kind of a word also coming into this particular word cloud. So guys, you see the power of analytics, wherein, more than 500 tweets are being together consolidated into one word cloud, and a person who understands the background will definitely be able to make sense out of it. Exactly, Jagrup, you're absolutely right. So Jagrup has asked that what I have done is I have extracted 500 tweets using the keyword Bitcoin, okay, and the output in the form of a word cloud is what you're seeing on the right side of the window. Okay. George has another question. Are you extracting any particular account? Oh, no. So George, this is not from any specific account. These are more of hashtags, keywords, which I'm trying to extract. So if you look at my search query, that's hashtag Bitcoins. These are generic. Yeah, exactly.
Okay, and I know that we're approaching, 9:30, which is the official time when the webinar ends, but would it be okay, folks, if we extend a little bit more so that Ujjwal can show you sentiment analytics, and then I can give you a small Tableau demo before we go ahead? Okay. Okay, a lot of you think it's okay. Is there anyone who has a time constraint who cannot give us 15 more minutes? Please let us know. Okay, most of you seem to be okay, but look, if you don't have time, don't worry, let me know over the private chat box, and I'll make sure, just give me your email ID. I'll make sure I send you the invite for the next class as well as the video. George, thanks a lot. So Ujjwal, you can continue with the sentiment analytics, I guess now, yeah?
Sure, I'll do that, Amit. I'll do that. Okay, so guys, once we have looked at how to summarize the text, let's also try and understand that what is people's sentiment around this particular text, okay? Now, we have a specific function in R which basically gives you a quick view of what kind of sentiment people have towards specific topic. And this topic currently what we are looking at is Bitcoins. So, what I'll do is I'll run a quick sentiment analysis on Bitcoins and see that what kind of sentiments people hold on Bitcoins. Okay, so looking at the graph which we have got after running the sentiment analysis, first of all, let me clear that what sentiments we are talking about. The sentiments like anger, anticipation, disgust, fear, joy, negative and positive sentiments, sadness, surprise, and trust. Now, when I look at Bitcoins, I see a mixed feeling over here. There is a lot of anticipation, but also a little bit of anger. Anger, why? Because, there has been a small dip in the price of Bitcoins, in the middle of June, okay, in the beginning of June. And that's where probably, people must have lost a little bit of money, and that's why the anger. A lot of people are feeling negative about the whole concept of Bitcoins, but a lot of people are also positive about it. There is some kind of a joy probably because, Bitcoin has seen around 3 times increase in the price starting January till date, so there is a lot of joy also there. I think Gautam is asking, how did you know about sentiments with text? Okay. So Gautam, let me explain that with an example. I really love my wife, okay? If that's the statement I'm making, that's a text statement, okay? Now, love word gives me one kind of a sentiment. I'm happy with my performance in my company. Happy is the word which is giving me another type of a sentiment, okay? Now, what R is doing, or what this function, pre-built function is doing is, it is picking up these specific words. It has a predefined dictionary which classify these words into different kind of sentiments, the different sentiments which you're seeing over here, and bases the frequency of those words into each of these categories is how it is making this particular plot. Exactly, Gautam. So, we make some algo with such keywords. Exactly. Okay. I think there were a lot of other questions also. I think Sai, your question is answered by Amit already, that what is sentiment? These are nothing but feelings. Vikas is asking, is get NRC sentiment a custom function you have written or inbuilt one? No, Vikas, this is an inbuilt one. Okay, I have not written this function. This is already available as part of sentiment package. Okay. Daniel is asking for the copy of the code. I think Amit will be the right person to answer on that.
Yeah, I'm working with Daniel on that one-on-one. I have sent him a chat. Yes.
Sure. And Kriti is saying these sentiments are being taken out of the first analyzed 500 tweets or some other. So Kriti, this is absolutely a random selection of tweets, which what we have seen over here. These are not first 500 or last 500. These are randomly selected. Okay. What is the insight we got now from word cloud and this bar graph? Okay. So Sai, from the word cloud, what we got to see is the summarization of text. Okay. Now, it is not necessary that every analysis will lead to some kind of an insight. Okay. But it can be a good summarization tool. From the sentiment graph or the bar graph, which you're seeing over here, you can very well see that people have very mixed sentiment about this, whole concept of Bitcoins. Okay. And there is really very, a mixed acceptability of the cryptocurrencies in the market. So that's that kind of a statement you can really make out after looking at the bar graph. Okay, so Jagrup is asking, did you use any model here? Jagrup, I'm not sure if you've heard about it. There is something which we call as bag of words. That's what is being used over here. So bag of words is really not a model, but an approach to do text analytics. Kriti is asking, I mean the 500 tweets taken in first code, sentiments were analyzed from those only? Yes, absolutely, Kriti. The sentiment is analyzed from those 500 tweets only. Then Amit, I think there is another request from George to share the code. Jagrup is asking that like random forest neural network.
Sure.
No, Jagrup, nothing of that sort in this code as of now. Soumya is asking, do we set any time period here for tweets to be chosen? Absolutely, Soumya, you can do that. In this code, I have not done it, but there are options which you can use to select the time period from which you want to pick up the tweets. All right. Shiva is asking, is feature engineering something relevant to this topic? In text mining, yes. And we have also done that while running this particular code, Shiva. In fact, when we will be going through the sessions, I'll take you through that what kind of feature engineering has actually happened in this particular code. Okay. So we will be covering that as part of our classes. All right. Shiva, I hope I have answered your question.
Okay, so very quickly, I hope, we can take more questions. In the meanwhile, probably I can also share the Tableau demo. So Deepak says, big clap, big clap. So I think Deepak loved it. Thank you so much, Deepak.
Thanks a lot, Deepak.
And you can continue the questions while I actually take on the access and see if we can actually run, a Tableau demo for you as well. Yeah. Okay.
Thanks.
So, okay. So I hope you enjoyed that little demo there, and very quickly I'm going to show you the power of Tableau as well. And Tableau is Gartner's #1 tool worldwide on visual analytics, and we'll learn about the power of Tableau in a very short while from now, right? And let's see how Tableau helps you, actually put together insight in a very, very quick firefighting mode, okay? So I'm going to share my screen now. And can all of you see my Tableau screen? Just say yes if you can. Okay. And I'm going to open up a marketing data set called the Global Superstore data set, which we've already asked all of you to download in the email that we've sent you. And here we go. So you can see Tableau connects to a variety of databases and variety of different kinds of files. And for the time being, I'm going to connect to the data set which I've got as an Excel file. Now, we open up this data set, and as you can see, Tableau immediately shows you on the left hand side what are the different kinds of tabs in this data set. There's orders that people have placed, there are the actual customers or people that place the orders, and there are the returns that have actually come back from those customers. And let's see how we can quickly get very meaningful information out of this. So I'm going to drag orders out, and I'm going to just explore the orders that this company has achieved. As it turns out, there are close to, let's see, 30 plus thousand rows in this particular data set. The beauty of Tableau is that we get to analyze data visually. You learn about visual analytics as a part of this course. Now on the bottom left, it says sheet 1. So I'm going to click on sheet 1 over there. The moment I do, you come to a screen that all people that work on Tableau know very well, which is your Tableau workspace screen. And you can see a bunch of things. So on the left-hand side, you can see that Tableau has picked up all of the columns in the data in that Excel sheet, and it has divided it into two things. The two things are dimensions and measures. Now, I want to ask you, what are dimensions and measures? Okay, I'm going to first define Tableau for you. In Excel, you do a lot of formulas and you represent the output as a graph, but in Tableau you actually work in the visual format. You do not work in formulas and data manipulation format. It's actually like a very advanced pivot, which you'll see very shortly. Now look at the left hand side, and what you'll realize is that you have dimensions such as what country did we sell things in, who's the customer, what market is it, APAC, North America, what kind of product is it, what region are we selling in. And then you've got measures, which is how much discount did we have to give the customers? We don't want to give too much. How much profit did we make? How many quantity of sale did we achieve? And what's the amount of sales that we achieved, and how much did we spend on shipping? So everything that you measure in a business as either a positive or a negative metric, okay? Positive metrics would be like profit or sales, and negative metrics, which you want less of, would be like shipping cost or, for example, discounts. All of these are known as measures, and Tableau automatically detects the measures. Unlike Excel or other softwares that don't do it for you, Tableau does this automatically. You'll also see that it looks at a lot of dimensions, which are the things that you slice and dice your data on. So what you want to know is things like how much did we sell in a particular country, or how much did we sell in this region, or which product is selling the most. So all of these things are dimensions. So dimensions are the things by which you slice and dice your data, while measures are the things that you're actually measuring for the business. But don't think of it just as a business. Let me put it to you in a very common sense sort of way. Answer the question that when you have a baby and the baby is born, and George is saying that Tableau is not free. That's not right. Tableau is free of cost. Okay, I will show you how to download Tableau. Right? Tableau is used a lot more in industries now. Excel is all around us. Tableau is used for visual analytics. Excel is used vastly for data manipulation. But Tableau does very well in visual analytics. R does very well in statistical packages, which is the strength of R. Tableau does great in visual analytics, and Excel is very good for data manipulation and data cleaning and a lot of other things that are, a smaller data set. Okay, Tableau can work together with R as well, as Group has asked. Okay, all right. You need a combination of R, Excel, and Tableau in analytics, not one or either of them. Now let me ask you the question, folks. When a baby is born, there are certain measures that you look at the day and the hour the baby is born to see if it was a good or a normal birth, right? What do you measure in a baby when the baby is born? What are the things you look at? Come on, everyone can answer this. This is not too hard, okay? All right, there you go. And you're talking about weight, okay? All of you said weight. What else? What else? Right, the vitals. Tell me the vitals, right? Daniel says height. Srinivas says weight and height. Anomalies says George. Okay, okay, absolutely. Okay, so let's talk about this a little bit. You talked about weight. You talked about height. Now, little things like, what is the red blood cell count, or what is the, platelet count, or what is the white blood cell count, right? Or you look at things like what is the bilirubin count, which is infantile jaundice, which a lot of people are afflicted by if they're born prematurely or if they're born through a surgery. So all of these are metrics or measures that measure how well the baby is doing when the baby is born. Now, all of these are measures. And then you have things like dimensions. Now, dimensions might be, give me examples with respect to a baby being born, what could be the dimensions? So they're not measures, but they're dimensions. Absolutely. So Pranit has, said gender, right? He's very right. And Kriti says, how loudly is the baby crying? Absolutely. They do look for the baby crying. It's a yes or a no, but they do measure that. Okay. So now you look at, the dimensions, and some of you rightly mentioned that the gender is one dimension. What about the zip code in which the baby was born, or the pin code? Right? So that's also a dimension, or the country where the baby was born, or the city where the baby was born. None of these are measures. It's not better to be born in Manila as compared to New York. None of them are going to predict your success in this universe, right? So it's not a measure, okay? It's a dimension. Do all of you now understand what are dimensions and measures in data? Give me a yes or a no. All right, you got it. Solid, right? So this is, solid learning happening right here, okay? Balaji, thanks for your, email ID. You're joining the next class, I hope. Charul says, too good. All right, so now look how quickly we're going to move from this point to actually creating a meaningful visualization in Tableau. And time me on this as I find out which geographies or which countries are we doing a lot of business in. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick up the market. I'd like to know which markets we're doing business in and drop it on the columns of the pivot, right? I drop market on the columns, okay? And I'm going to drop the total quantity that I've sold on the columns as well after market. And after that, I'd like to see which category of products I'm selling well. And finally, which segments am I selling well? As simple as that, right? And just as quickly as that, visually, we're able to figure out all the different markets, Africa, APAC, Canada, EMEA, EU, LATAM, and the US. And we're able to figure out the different categories and the different segments. Some of you had a question saying, how different is it from Excel? And Karthik says, whoa, and Gautam says, perfect, right? But it's not over yet. I want to see all of these different segments as different colors. And all I need to do, I need to pick up market and I need to drop it on top of color, right? So I'm going to do that now. Okay, it's as easy as that. I'm going to first, I just got to find market, by the way. Where is it? Okay, let's have a look. Here we go. And drop it on top of color here. Okay, moment I do that, I see each of the market in a different color. All right, now can you tell me which simple and effective, says Jagrup, can be transferred to a PowerPoint? Soumya, you can transfer it to a PowerPoint, but you won't need to because you have a presentation mode right here in Tableau. So I'm going to click on the button and boom, there you go. You're in presentation mode. Okay. All right. So Soumya, let me ask you a question in presentation mode. I'll ask all of you the question. Which market seems to be the emerging market for us, for where we're actually really trying to find, our feet? We haven't really sold a lot, right? Can you tell me which market is it? Look carefully, right? Okay, Canada, there you go, right? So as you can see, we hardly have any bar graphs in Canada, isn't it? So you want to add a comment there saying, and we're doing descriptive analytics right now as we speak. We're going to annotate the point Canada and say that this is an emerging market. Okay, and you can see that comment right there. Okay, there you go. And you can see that some of the other markets like APAC and the US are a mature market. So you can put those comments as well and project your comments. So you can add your comments right here in your visualization. You don't have to go to PowerPoint, by the way. It is possible to go there, but it's not necessary, right? But let's move ahead, and even better than this, we're going to rename this sheet as emerging markets, okay? Now I'm going to open a new sheet, and this is the power of visual analytics, right? And look at how quickly I'm going to see where the sales are worldwide, right? So I'm just going to click on country. That's all I did in dimensions, and I'm going to press the control button on my keyboard and press sales. Now I selected country and sales by using the control button. And on the top right corner, there's a small button there that says show me on right on the top right corner. I'm going to click on that. And it suggests this particular graph, right? It gives me a lot of graphs that it thinks it's a good idea for me to use. But one of them is actually highlighted, and that's the world map. So I'm going to double click that world map. Okay, and the moment I do, boom, it draws the visualization, right? And the raw data is right there behind this in the Excel format, Pranit. You can use the raw data. I'll show you how to actually get the data. The data in this case, Niranjan, was in Excel, but you can upload any data worldwide, including Hadoop, big data connections. You can connect to SQL Server, Oracle, Amazon Redshift. It doesn't matter. You can connect to any data. But it's about the speed at which you can analyze and get insights. Okay, that's important in Tableau, right? Now look at this. When I use this fantastic feature called Show Me, it actually recommended to me the graph that I should use. Isn't that great? Because half the time you and I are worried about what graph should I use for what kind of data. Okay, isn't that a fantastic feature? It's an auto recommendation feature called Show Me. How many of you like that feature? Say yes if you do. Okay, okay, fantastic. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to break up these sales in each of these countries into the different states, because I want to know how I'm doing not just in America, but then the different states of America. So let me go down and let me see if I can find the state somewhere. Here we go. You can see the state here. So I'm going to drag state and drop it out on the Pacific Ocean. That's what I'm going to do. The moment I do that, boom, is going to break this up into all of the different states. But I'm not done yet, okay? I'm actually looking at the sales, but what I'm concerned about more than the sales. Niranjan, could you focus on this part of the demo, and I will surely answer your question, right? I'll surely answer your question about how to connect to the database, okay? Is that okay, Niranjan? Okay, superb, superb. Now, Niranjan, focus here, right? You can see how we're doing in sales in California, Texas. It looks like Texas is great, $170,000. But let's find out. I'm going to drop profit on top of color. And the moment I do, there's a different story. Texas is actually loss making. So is Illinois, so is Ohio, so is Pennsylvania, so is, by the way, Turkey or Pakistan or New Zealand, parts of New Zealand. Well, so I can actually change these colors in Tableau real easy, so it becomes very intuitive for us to look at it. Profit should be green. It has been for ages, and loss should be red. It has been for ages. And so I'm going to do and use the full color range till I have a visualization that clearly tells me where I'm making profits and losses across the world. And that is the power of Tableau, right? And far more advanced than this, when you get into the course, we're also going to find out what's impacting profit and what's actually not impacting profit. So Daniel says clap, clap, clap. You will actually be able to figure out using predictive analytics, right, which part of the profits are impacted by which factor. Is it shipping cost impacting profit? Or is it discounts? Are we giving too many discounts? Are we giving too many profits? All of this you will learn in the next class on Tableau, which is on the 8th of July. So please, please, please do join on the 8th of July, right? Okay. So how did your Excel data map to the world map? That's a great question, George. George, as you can see, right, you have latitude and longitude, right? These have been generated. So on the bottom left corner where you see latitude and longitude, it says generated, okay? Now, if you look carefully at the screen, I'll just show you right now, okay? On the bottom left corner of the map, you can see OpenStreetMap contributors, okay? So this is a plugin. Tableau uses the name of the city and calls upon this particular plugin, this particular open source street map contributors, and calls upon their server, and the server gets back to Tableau with the latitude and the longitude. And hence the cities have been mapped on the globe, even though my original data set did not have latitude and longitude. So that's a great question there, yeah? Okay, I really like the questions I'm getting from this group, and I know you're going to be enjoying the next couple of classes on Excel and Tableau, right? And I'm super excited about that. Okay, now with this demo sort of out of the way, we've got far more exciting things that we'll be doing in Tableau. It's very, very powerful, very, very easy. So I'm going to call this Global Sales and Profits. And by the way, I can easily create a dashboard in Tableau. And here we are. We're going to create a dashboard. So I'm going to take the first view and the second view and drop them right there and go to the maximum. And I can actually create a nice dashboard in Tableau. By the way, I can get things to fit exactly as I want them. So I can fit this to the width. And there we go. This is much better, isn't it? That's how easy it is. And we're going to create much more complex dashboards in the classes that come up and learn about, Tableau very, very intuitively. Now they've got a very good question from Sai, right? Sai's got a great question. I like you guys already, okay? So Sai's question is, it says 32 unknown on the bottom right corner. Now you're making my life very easy, Sai. I was supposed to cover this in the next class, okay? So if you just, click on this particular 32 unknown, you'll notice that there's some locations that Tableau couldn't understand. For example, Alsace, right? So you need to actually point Tableau in the direction of Alsace latitude and longitude. So how do you do that? Well, it's long-winded, but here we go. Since you've asked the question, so you can just say Alsace latitude and longitude on Google, and Google's my best friend, and you get it right here, okay? I'm going to copy this and I can go and paste this in Tableau and I can resolve that error, okay? There you go. Alsace latitude and longitude. Hopefully I paste that, and okay, so I need to just paste it in that particular format that they have there, right? I need to enter it into this particular box and I'll be able to resolve this particular error, okay? I hope that answers your question. Yes, so you will get advanced knowledge of Tableau to the extent that you'll be able to create not just dashboards, but also story points using data in Tableau. So when it comes to visual analytics and data visualization, you will be able to reach clearly an intermediate level in Tableau. I would not call it basic, I would not call it super advanced. I would call it an intermediate level, which should be more than enough for your data visualization and the roles that you have in Tableau using data visualization. Okay, Kriti? You'll be able to apply for all of those roles and apply Tableau at work for sure. Thank you so much for your question, Kriti. Okay, so with this, I'm going back to my deck, and now I'd like to take specific questions. Before that, could you please just send me your email ID if you're interested in joining the next class on the 8th of July? Just send it to me as a private message to Amit Upadhyay host, and I will make sure that I send you the recording of this particular class. How to install Tableau. Tableau is free of cost, by the way. You can install Tableau public free of cost, and how to download the data for the next class on the 8th of July. And I'm super excited. So all of you, Daniel, Charul, Deepak, Gautam, George, Jagrup, Karthik, Kriti, Niranjan, Praneeth, all of you, right? Just go ahead and drop me, a message with your email ID, which indicates to me that you're interested in joining the next class, and I will make sure that I invite you. Now, can I get your questions, please? Okay. So, oh, I'm sorry. Jagrup says for the third time, you added variables in dimensions and measures. Jagrup, my apologies. I had to, I didn't see your question earlier. But you added the variables in dimensions and measures. How can we add variables of our choice at our own, right? Okay. So Jagrup, it's fairly easy. You can actually, take, variables from measures and drop them into dimensions if you think that they're not measures. For example, shipping cost, right? I could add it over here, okay? Now shipping cost has moved from a measure to a dimension, okay? That's one way of swapping the variables. If you want to add additional variables, then you would have to go to your Excel sheet. So let me open up the the Excel sheet for the webinar, and here's your Excel sheet, and you need to add the variable to the raw data, okay? And Vikas Pandey's question is, only the trial version of Tableau is free? Well, the trial is a full version for 14 days, that's free, but there's also a version called Tableau Public, okay? So what you need to do, Vikash, is, just drop me your email and I'll send you the link for both Tableau Public, which you can use for your life. So it's lifetime free, okay? But it has some limited functionalities. And Tableau trial version, which once you've practiced on Tableau Public, you can even try your hand on the other functionalities. Which one is used most in the industry? I'm going to go back to my slide, and it's really important that all of you remember this slide, okay? Slide number 8. Okay, the industry is not about only predictive, okay? As an analytics professional or a data scientist, for sure, you need to have command over tools, not just the predictive tools, but most importantly, descriptive tools. On the descriptive side, I would say you need very good command over Excel even now in the industry. It would be great if you know an advanced tool like Tableau or ClickView. They are used in a big way, right? Tableau or ClickView. And of course, Excel is a said, it's just a given, right? In predictive, I would want you to know R or Python. You can choose one of the open source. We prefer R because it's gaining popularity over Python. It's easier, it's more like a calculator. And if you're in the financial world, for sure, you will need to know SAS. There's no way you're going to get away without knowing SAS, okay? Ujjwal can add more to that, right? I'm more than happy to get Ujjwal's um,
Yeah, Amit,
answer on
I
that.
think
Yeah.
I think you primarily covered that piece, but I think, guys, Amit very correctly mentioned that though people feel that Excel is a primitive tool, but trust me, 80 to 90% of the finance sector still runs on Excel. Okay, even big banks which are like 125, 150 years old, they still prefer Excel as the major tool for doing most of the data crunching. Okay, but yes, having said that, Tableau, ClickView, and probably tools like Cognos also exist in the market, and they are very well accepted and very nicely used across the industry. So it makes sense to have a good knowledge around these tools, and that's what primarily we will be covering as part of this course also.
Sure. Thank you so much, Ujjwal. And in answer to Ankit's question, Ankit, it is more than enough if you learn Excel, Tableau, and R. And we're covering SAS also. So that's more than enough for you, Ankit, to launch yourself into analytics, right? Gautam, ditto for you, right? As a fresher, you want to first of all pick up some Excel and one visualization tool, Tableau or ClickView. We cover Tableau, which is the most popular in the world right now, and then R or Python, either one of them, and SAS and introduction, right? Charul, SPSS is a very old tool. Thank you for bringing it up. Right, it was used in the past, but unfortunately today it's something that's used in universities to teach students, but it's not hugely popular out there in the industry. SPSS text mining was kind of popular, but it got overtaken by R and Python. So I would say SPSS has good academic applications, not more than that right now. Okay. Srinivas Rao, freshers are more than welcome in analytics. So 0 to 2 years experience is the hottest experience in terms of the time it takes for you to get hired. You can easily get hired into analytics, provided you do a good job of putting together a good resume with a certification, a project, showcase some amount of experience, right? Okay. Now, a few of you have a lot of experience, like 15 years in telecom, and you want to learn analytics. Absolutely. So the first thing you need to do, if you have more than 10 years experience, is get certified and actually use the data you currently have in your company, create some good dashboards and analysis around that, and see if you can do a predictive project, whet the appetite of your leadership there or your boss, and you can access the data which you already have. You don't have to ask them for more data. I think as a person with more experience, you need to just run a couple of projects in your current company and then put that on your resume before you apply for jobs, and you will definitely be able to do that, right? Now, one of you talked about being a chartered accountant. So any problem for you in learning R? Absolutely not. So I have seen BComs and BA in English people working in SAS and R. Okay. Tableau and Excel will be a piece of cake for you if you're a chartered accountant. And R will just take a small learning curve. What you need to do is go to a very nice website called datacamp.com for just to get comfortable with R, not for anything else. We will teach you R right from the beginning, but datacamp.com is a good place for you to start today itself without installing anything. You just go to datacamp.com and you can start practicing your basic, very basic R, and that'll be a good investment for you. Okay. Yes, Srinivas, I have addressed you. You talked about your telecom experience, so I have addressed you. You need to learn analytics, get certified. do the capstone project, and then apply a little bit of Tableau and Excel at your current workplace with the telecom data you have, and then present it to your leadership, put that on your resume, and then look for a job outside. Okay. So Jagrup says, I'm looking for possibilities of AI ML Tableau in financial sector banks. So Jagrup, in banks, to be honest, you will see a lot of jobs in Tableau. You'll see a lot of jobs in SAS. Okay. So banks may be very heavy on SAS and Tableau and Excel. Okay. With regards to machine learning and I would say banks are interested, okay? But to my experience, I've seen, and Ujjwal can correct me, but I have, without naming the bank, I have seen probably 10% of the work is in machine learning and AI, and 90% of the work is in softwares like SAS, Tableau, and Excel. Ujjwal, if you have a different take, please add to that for Jagroup's, information.
Amit, I kind of agree, but just one more addition to this. Yes, most of the financial sector used to use SaaS, but in last few months, maybe, or last half an year is when I can say that I've seen the environment changing. Banks also have now become pretty open to open tools, open source tools like R and Python. So for that matter, even in our bank, we have started working a lot on R and Python, and the usage of SaaS has probably started decreasing a little bit given the cost. So though these trends were not seeing, in last few years, but recently, banks have now opened their gates to open source tools like R and Python, so that's the only addition which I have to it.
Hey, thanks a ton, Ujjwal. And hey, what I want you to do is, folks, just go to Quora.com, right, and search for EquiSkill, okay? The moment you do that, you will see a question called, how can I become a data analyst if I do courses from EquiSkill or Coursera? And this question, a lot of the learners who got placed through us, they've actually answered, here, and they've talked about how they felt about our course. So Anjani Kunwar, for example, is a data scientist that got certified by EquiSkill, and he got placed by us. And you've got Sandeep, you've got Mohit. So a bunch of people, right? Parth is working for eBay as a data scientist. This one here is actually working with the Credit Exchange. So you should read through their feedbacks. Definitely, your job prospects and your placements, are something you'll definitely get if you go through this course. Where I need your help is, can all of you please provide your feedback on our Facebook page, right? So if you just go to facebook.com/equiskill, if you think you really enjoyed this webinar, right? My request would be that, can you please provide your feedback? Please rate us 5, okay? And if you like this webinar, and along with that, just share, a couple of heartfelt comments, if you have any, for us on the Facebook page. I think that would mean a lot to us, right? So here's the link for the Facebook page. Let me give it to anyone. Just a second. Here we go. Okay, can you click this and provide some feedback, some of you, and just say done once you have the opportunity to provide the feedback. And we're actually open to more questions, okay? So I want to give you a way of, asking me and Ujjwal more questions, right? Okay, so Jagrup had more questions. Hey, Jagrup, why don't you do this? Why don't you put together all your questions? This is not the end of the day. I want you to just mail your questions to contact@equiskill.com. If you want to talk to me personally, just drop it, or Ujjwal, right? Just drop us a message at contact@equiskill.com. In the subject line, just say Amit or Ujjwal, right? So whoever you want to address the question to, and we will be more than happy to answer questions even after today, right? It doesn't have to be just today, okay? We're there for you on 8th of July. We're there in between, right, Jagrup? Okay. Hey, have some of you had the chance to, provide us some feedback on our Facebook page? I just shared the link. If you like the webinar, please rate us 5 and do share your comments. I think it would mean a lot to us, right? So thanks a lot, George Sebastian. You've liked the page, and I think what we need is your feedback and your comments, right, on what worked for you in the webinar. If you really enjoyed the webinar, means a lot to us, okay? All right, so are we seeing you all on the 8th of July, right? Hey Jagrup, thank you so much. Thanks for pinging Ujjwal, right? I'm sure Ujjwal will reply to your question. Hey George, thanks. You just rated us 5 on 5. It means a lot to us, George, that you're able to do that. Daniel, I'm seeing you in the next class. Kriti, I'm seeing you in the next class. Soumya, Sai, see you in the next class. Hey, install Tableau and Excel before the next class, okay? So I'm going to show you how to do that now, okay? Just in case you have maybe a few more minutes, I'll just show you using my version of Excel. So I will email to you the link for Excel, okay? And here we go. It's opening up, and inside Excel, you can actually install Microsoft Business Intelligence tools, and I'll show you how. There you go. So once you install Excel free of cost, and send me a link, I'll show you how you can get the latest version of Excel free of cost. Click on File, okay, on top, and click on Options. In Options, click on Add-ins and go to the COM add-ins at the bottom of the page, and you can actually click on Go, and you can enable Power Maps and Power Pivot and Power View. These are the Power BI tools inside Excel, okay? So this is one thing that you need to do is install Excel 2013 or 2016. I'll send you the link for that. And then enable these add-ins, okay? That's number one. Number two, you need to go to the Tableau website. It's real easy. Just say tableau.com. And on the website, if you just look for Tableau Public, okay? Better still, just Google Tableau Public, okay? Now, it'll take you to the page where you can install Tableau Public free of cost, and here's the page, okay? And there you go. You just enter your email ID and you download Tableau, as easy as that. So I even put it here in the chat box for you, no worries. Just give me a second here. But I will email all of you, so don't worry about that. If you said yes in the chat box, Srinivas, Karthik, Jagrup, on 8th of July, your next class, we will see you there. There's also a class on the 9th of July on statistics. So make sure that you keep that weekend free, 8th and 9th of July, okay? I hope that's a deal, everyone. Yeah, you're going to keep 8th and 9th of July free for your analytics learning. Say yes in the chat box. All right, superb. Daniel, thank you. Kriti, Karthik, Ankit, super excited, I think. Okay, fantastic. Ramesh, super excited. Ramesh Jajula. All right, fantastic. Folks, again, Ujjwal also says wonderful, guys. So again, we're completely available for every kind of question you have, okay? Just drop an email at contact@equiskill.com and just say Amit or Ujjwal, depending on who you want the question answered from, and we'll be happy to answer all your questions. See you on the 8th of July for the introduction to Excel and visual analytics, and on the 9th of July for your first class on statistics. Okay, so both of those classes you're going to be invited to. You'll also get a link to the LMS page, Learning Management System page, and see you all next week, yeah? Okay. Okay, so George, you want to know how to download the Excel version? I just want you all to focus on the email that you will get from contact@equiskill.com. It will have everything you need. So Excel installation, Tableau data, Excel data, everything will be there. I'm going to share an LMS link with you, Learning Management System link. That will have all the details, George. Okay, that works? Oh yeah, okay. You guys are talking about the discount. Yes, we do have a discount. Thank you so much for reminding me. Here we go. So on the page Analytics Accelerator Certification, if you click on the button Enroll Now, okay, and after clicking on Enroll Now, if you click on View Basket, okay, you have the option of entering a coupon code. So enter the coupon code NY1000, okay, if you're based out of India, and apply the coupon code, and you will immediately get a discount of 1,000 rupees, and it'll become 17,900 only. So the code is NY1000. Now this applies up to the weekend of 8th of July and 9th of July, right? This it'll be valid, and you get a refund for 21 days in case you're not happy for any reason. Anyone based out of the North America geography? Anyone who's paying in US dollars? Okay, if you put NY3000, no magic, Ramesh, but it's a good joke. Okay, so Daniel is in the US, yes. For the US customers, again, we have USD $20 off. So what you will see is that you will not need to pay USD 289. Okay, so instead of 289, it's going to be $20 off. So it'll work out to USD 269. Okay, so for that, Daniel, what we will do is we'll send you, a US link, right, with the discounted code. Okay, just in case. And again, we have a lot of customers in the US who join us from different locations, and we'd be more than happy to have you at the discounted pricing, Daniel. Okay, thank you so much. India code is NY1000. And for the US, we will actually send you a fresh link with the discounted code. Okay. Okay, thank you, Kriti. Thank you so much. Please join the next 2 classes as well. Yes, classes are on the weekend only. They're on Saturday and Sunday at pretty much the same time, just 30 minutes earlier. So I think that'll work out to 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time in the US, which is 7:30 p.m. IST. Okay, that's when we have the classes. Classes are typically 3 hours, and all classes are recorded, right? Just in case, you miss a class, don't worry about it. No sweat. Okay, we record each and every class. You can even catch the class in the next batch live if you want to. Okay, well, thanks everyone. I'm ending the webinar for today. I really appreciate your participation. Ujjwal, thank you so much.
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot, guys. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, Daniel. Thank you, Jagrup. Hey, thanks a lot. Thanks, Srinivas. And please do rate us on Facebook. We really appreciate your feedback for the webinar, okay?